I finally made it to the world headquarters of Zap in Bibra Lake. Now, my only memories of Bibra Lake back in the day was Bibra Lake Speedway, which stopped back in 2004. And now Zap, this is a massive commercial industrial area. Like, it's amazing how much it's grown. 40 years ago, Zap's Rat was a thing. 84.
Yep. 84, we got the first Zap's Rat going with an injected big block.
Wow.
And that ended up running a best of 9.11, 9.1 at 148 mile an hour. 151 mile an hour or something. You know, now these days we've got Brody's car here with a big block Chev. You know, that was doing 840s NA. Now it's gone 690s, 215 with a Pro Charger and onto a big block with a carving. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you remember the first time you started talking in 690s at 200? And because drag racing speakers a language,
yeah,
right? A guy can't tell you what his wife's birthday is, but he can certainly tell you what his ET and what his mile per hour is.
Yeah. So yeah, well, we started doing. Back in '91, I think I went to America and I bought an engine off Pat Austin and Walt Austin. That was the alcohol champion in America, alcohol funny car champion.
Yep.
So bought a 540 cube engine off them with a 1471 blower and brought that whole motor over, put it in the car, and first pass it was all over the track at Ravenswood and it went 7.0, hit the throttle 3 times, and then the next meeting it went 690s at 209.9 or something. It was nearly, it missed 200, it just went straight to 210 basically. And then that ended up running 214. That was a world record at the time, quicker than some of the nitrous cars in America. And then we eventually got that car down to like 654 in that carnation of it with the 2-speed, 219 mile an hour, something like that. And then that car got sold and I went to Alcohol Funny Car, which was a Statesman, steel-bodied Statesman with doors, but it was a funny car as well.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we ran that once, but the brakes were never matched correctly to on the chassis, so it didn't stop. And we totaled it. The first meeting went at 688, and then totaled it at Ravenswood. So then we put a Pontiac funny car body on it, and got it to go 619 best at the time. But, you know, people would come up and they'd go, gee, that was good, but the HQ was really good. You know, they'd come up and they got a Pontiac funny car and they're talking about the HQ. So once the word come out that Kwinana was going to reopen, build the new track at Kwinana Motorplex, we Southside, Graham Jones at Southside Engine Centre got the old car back. And we put a burnout combo in it and did some burnout shows, and we started to drum up the sponsors and campaign the car again. And then we'd switch it and put a new Hemi in it. I had a Hemi with a Whipple, but we put a Hemi in it with a 1471, and we got that car to go 642, 219 at the Motorplex. But it wasn't allowed to run in Doorslammer at that stage because it was only a mild steel chassis. So that's when we started building this chassis. Got Murray Anderson to build the chassis.
Yes.
The steel body car. I'd done the steel body, and then I went over there and mounted the body in Melbourne, brought the car back, and then we finished the car back here. So and we debuted that at just before the Western Nationals 2003. So 21 years ago we got that car going.
Wow.
And it went 625 on the second pass. And then, you know, it didn't take long. We got it into the 5s, and Oh, that's right. We got it to 6:08.
That was in Sydney, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got it to 6:08, and then we went, right, we'll travel now. We'll go to Willowbank.
Yep.
And we qualified there with the 6:08. And it went okay, and then that was the winters. So then when we did the first round, we drummed up some sponsorship. We got to Sydney
Yep.
for the Nationals in September. And that's when we come out and we went 6:02, 6:01, and then we come out in the final and went 5:96.
What was that feeling like?
42. Oh, it was fantastic. And Dano Brzezinski had a $10,000 check for the first person to run a 5, and he signed that on the roof of the car on the return road.
No, oh, really? You took that right? You're right, yeah. That's cool.
So we won the meeting. We set the record, and picked up the check and all that. And it was pretty cool. But yeah, we blew it up in qualifying, and we only had one engine then, so we worked all night through the rain and rebuilt the engine. Filed the crank. It had dents in the crank, and we filed it, polished it, borrowed some belt and a lifter off Victor, and put it all together, and come out and won the meeting. So it was pretty cool.
And that anniversary just came up just last weekend in Sydney for that anniversary of the Sydney Dragway, which is amazing. Can you show me some trees? You got some nice trees in your office.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I never get sick of seeing this ever, but I know there's some cool stuff in your office. There's a bit going on in this office, Zap.
Yeah, a bit of paperwork to do. I'm never here to get paperwork done, but it's got to be done sooner or later.
This is just epic. Just epic. How many are there?
Oh, lost count. No, there's around 50 area, I think.
And you said you've given a few away to sponsors over the years?
Yeah, 6 of them been given away. And so some are runner-up ones, some are winners. Most are winners, but there's a few runner-up ones. Then there's all the other types of trophies as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some...
And all these ones in the middle that don't fit. So yeah, we need to put another shelf up there on the top and put all the gold ones up top.
Wow, that's amazing. I often talk about Richard. It was good to see him back in Sydney. Obviously, you can't always have him at events, but it's cool when you do.
Yeah, no, it's good when he's there. Enjoy having him there.
So you guys just started doing this kind of thing together, like all those years ago? It was something you did together?
Yeah, that's originally I think I got the car done and I was running it with Southside Engine Centre, and in the early days Richard wasn't involved.
Yep.
And then he come into it and sort of stayed with me ever since. So definitely, probably a good 30 years there.
Yeah. You love your computer, Zap. You're constantly poring over data and constantly, your brain never stops. Does it ever stop thinking about drag racing?
No, not really.
I mean, you had your granddaughter birthday yesterday, which was cool. So you do have a family life as well. But your obsession with drag racing, is it still as powerful as it ever was?
Oh, not quite as much. It's, you still got to get out of bed in the morning and make it all happen. It gets harder and harder. But yeah, the drive's still there to keep going, and if I stop now, I've got to get a real job. So
we don't want that to happen.
People say I'm living the dream, but and sometimes it is, and then other times you think, so this is what living the dream is. Everything's blown up, and we've broken down, and there's so much work to do to fix stuff, and just packing up in the rain. Yeah. Stuff like that. There's the bad parts, but the good parts is when everything goes well, and you get to meet lots of fans at the drags, and
and your merch is still massively popular too. Every time I go to, I just can't get over this. This is just unbelievably cool, the amount of trees that you've got along here. Whenever I drop by your merch, there's always so many people. Your merchandise, you've got such loyal fans, Zap.
That's been going really well, and with Rob Media looking after the social media stuff and the website, and that's all pumped it up to another level. And we sell a little bit online, but the online stuff's not the deal. It's at the track when people they want to see it, touch it, and they buy.
You said to me the other day you used the term C motor. an A, B, and C motor. When you're first starting out and you built yourself your first go-kart back in the day, and you got the metalwork teacher to run through some plans for you, and did you ever dream as a 14-year-old kid that you would have a C motor in top Doorslammer?
No. No, we've had up to 4 engines in the past. We're down to 3 at the moment. We're down to 2 at Sydney and Tail and Bend. Down to 1 at the end by Sydney. But, that's the way it goes. But yeah, we're getting a bit of waiting for some parts and a bit of machine work done by High Speed Engineering where Brody works, and hopefully we'll have our A motor back in for the Westerns, and the C motor's fresh, the B motor's just getting a sleeve. We get a hone at AA Engineering.
Yep.
Applied Automotives, and then we'll put that all back together, and that'll be fresh. So we'll have 3 fresh engines for the Westerns. Hopefully we'll be in good shape, and we're getting closer to making them more reliable.
Mm-hmm.
They always were reliable, but just we found a bit more power with the A motor, and then we just started hurting stuff. The stuff don't last as long because it's just making more.
Yep.
Leaning on stuff a bit hard, so
yeah,
we'll just back it down a little bit.
Is it? I spoke to Brock Zierfoss, an American sprint car driver, the other day, and I said, "Are you living your dream, or can it be a nightmare?" And he said, "Nightmares are dreams too, Wade."
Yeah,
so
right.
That probably sums it up. What you were saying before, right? I mean, some days it's incredible. Look at this, and then other days you go, "Wow."
You know, when you're winning all the time and everything's going right, you're not blowing up engines, and then you can do a minor service, so then the workload between meetings is a lot less. But you know, when you're kicking rods or you're burning pistons, the kicking rods is the worst one, obviously, because then you destroy everything. You got to fix it all.
Yeah.
And so we weld up my own blocks and heads now, and do as much of that as I can myself.
Is the only real change that you've had to really grapple with, has that been the auto? Like, see, everything else has remained fairly well the same, John, hasn't it? It's just the whole start line procedure has been a big thing.
For 18 months, since the winters a couple of years ago, when we put the auto in and we went there and tested, the car went 571 that first meeting with an auto, and then we've got it to go 560 when conditions are right. But yeah, it's just mainly the procedure on the start line, getting me head around that, and with the clutch, you come in, you stage, you stop on the brake, you stage. But with the auto, you got to press trans brake. If you don't press trans brake, you've got nothing. So, and that's where you think I'm staged. No, you're not. You got to press trans brake. It's another thing you got to think of. You got to put your foot flat, and you're not moving. So a lot of the times I was looking away from the tree to look out the windscreen, because my foot's flat, brain goes, watch where you're going.
Yeah.
So from a manual, whenever my foot was flat, the clutch was out and you were going. So you had to watch where you're going. So straight away you look from the tree to where you're going. And so that was something I kept working out, why am I missing the tree? I'd do an 065 light, and then I'd do a 500 light, and I'm going, hang on, if I'm slow, I'd be slow all the time.
Yeah.
If I'm quick, I'd be quick all the time. But I'm all over the place, and it was basically what was happening is subconsciously I was looking away from the tree, and when I'd look back, I'd miss the orange light. And then I'd go, oh, I'll have to go. I must have missed it.
So is it muscle memory? Is a lot of it just so many times you did it one way and then suddenly...
Every time my foot was flat, I looked out the window and I looked away from the tree. So that was one mistake I was making, and I knew I was doing it, and I couldn't stop myself from making that mistake. Then, the last meeting, I think, was the turning point where I've got my head around it, and I purposely come in and staged last, and I did an 013 light and I did an 096 light. So, if I can keep my lights in that window, then we're good. I've solved it now. I've got the technique in my head where I'm not doing the old stuff anymore, and it's taken 18 months to do that.
So I do love the butterflies. That's one thing. The butterflies give people butterflies when they see that iconic time. But Zap, your view over here, if you come with this, it seems incredible to me that you can see past all that. But over there, your mirror as well is another way that you actually get a way of seeing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So we've got a mirror and it's adjustable, so I can tune it in.
Oh, can you really?
A different spot.
Yeah, right.
The mirror.
Yep.
So yeah, just basically to be able to see around that big blower, I just move my eye over to the mirror. I try to keep my head straight because I've been caught with that before. I turned my head too much years ago and I launched and my head was jammed. I couldn't straighten my head, so I had to get off the pedal. My head come forward, I straightened my head and I got back on it. So nowadays I just keep my head straight and I just use my eyes to the mirror. Adjust it up as we get close to staging, and that's another time factor. You're going into stage and you've got to adjust it sometimes, see if it's vibrated or if it's a different tree at a different track.
Jeez.
So it's just another factor, but the last meeting I cut an 013 light.
Yep.
Coming in last with the mirror, so
you're working it out.
I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's given me a lot of confidence now that I know.
Yeah.
I can do it, whereas before I was sort of dreading doing it sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Just with the auto itself, with or without the mirror.
Yeah.
But I've proven to myself it's not a disadvantage, so they can put me in any lane. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, right. Because it's just incredible to think that you've got any view at all through there. Like you're just used to looking, you only want to look where you're going anyway.
Yeah, but the view I've got here is fine of the track on where I'm going.
Yes.
But you can't see the tree.
Which is fairly important.
From the right lane. Left lane, I'm looking between here and the windscreen.
Yeah, yeah, okay, right, just there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just crazy. Well, who came up with the idea? Had you seen that somewhere before, or? It's fairly unique, isn't it?
The idea from, we just thought we'd try it.
Yeah.
We'd stuck with it, but we used to have a guy who'd open the passenger door and adjust it, and I'd go the other way, and it'd be holding people up a bit, and people were getting a bit tired of it, so we made it adjustable so I can do it myself.
You obviously title number 12 is possible because you wouldn't be still doing it if you didn't believe that.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, no,
how do you get it?
Oh,
is it harder now?
Oh, for sure. It's harder, but we've made some of the mistakes ourselves, and that's what's cost us the past few years. During COVID, there wasn't much travelling around, so that gave some locals a bit more of an advantage where they were just running at their own track all the time. Mm-hmm. Whereas where we were good was going different tracks, and we could get down tracks that other people struggled with.
Yeah.
So when you're running at the same couple of good tracks all the time, then that advantage is gone. But basically, our own reliability has let us down because we're pushing the equipment harder than normal. And it depends on your budget. If you try to run the parts too long, you just got to spend the money and change the parts earlier before they break. And it's knowing where that is. Otherwise you're changing parts for no reason and wasting money, or you're not spending enough money, or lack of maintenance, whatever you want to call it. The harder you push the motor, the more the maintenance becomes, and you've got to be on top of it and stay ahead of it. Then we've had some silly little, hoses blow out on the auto side of it, something that we didn't have before. So then you lose the trans brake, then you can't hold it, you can't pull it out of gear or stuff like that. So we've got all them teething problems sorted now, and we've proven we've gone out and run consistent at Tail and Bend. And the meeting before that, we ran in the 70s every run, and no one else ran in the 70s in the Golden States. We just need our A motor back in, and hopefully we should get back into the 60s or low 70s if there's really hot conditions. And then it's just everything's got to align and everything go right with no mistakes.
No mistakes.
But we got 4 meetings left for the championship. So, it's early days. I'm not even worried about the point. I don't even know what the points are at the moment. I know I just figured that I'd be slightly behind Russell. But we haven't seen the points yet, so we don't know. They need to post them.
This ain't your first rodeo.
No. We do good coming from behind. Just put the pressure on at the end, and drive around them. That was the old way we used to do it. But,
thanks for letting me hang out at your shop, mate. I can't believe I'm finally here at the world headquarters of Zap. So cool.